Good afternoon and welcome to this week's edition of Halftime Talk, the first interview of the new season 2023-24 as we prepare for our big forum in Fujairah on October 10th and 11th. We're delighted to be joined by Mr. Ali Jarwan, Managing Director and CEO of Dragon Oil. Welcome, Ali.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you very much.
Ali, perhaps we can just kick off with a recap of, Dragon Oil has had some significant progress in recent years since we've last had the chance to have you on our program. It would be great to get an update. Obviously, Dragon is targeting a very ambitious outlook for the years ahead with a 300,000 barrel a day by 2026, which of course is only a few years away. Where are you at? How is progress going?
Thank you for asking. Now, as I speak, we are producing 180,000 barrel oil per day from 3 sites. And approximately each site producing 60,000. That is to say from Turkmenistan, 60,000, from Egypt, 57,000, and from Iraq, 63,000 barrel oil per day. And our strategy for the remaining production, 50% of it will be from organic growth, mainly from Turkmenistan. We are revising our production strategy, introducing new technology to revive and make the producers really active, if you like. And the other thing is really drilling the undrilled prospects within the Chilican concession. And the rest of it will be acquisition. And we are looking very focused for so many opportunities. And depending on the board choices, of course, some of them will be materialized.
Ali, let's kick off with that. Obviously, no longer a one-trick pony, as they say, with Dragon now having multiple sites. But of course, Turkmenistan remains the anchor of the history of Dragon Oil. And as you said, it's very successfully producing upwards of 60,000 barrels a day out of Turkmenistan. I'd like to get some insight. The war in Ukraine has had. We've seen some disruptions to Kazakhstan production. How is the overall impact on your production, on getting oil to market out of that part of the world with the unfortunate conflict in the Ukraine area and some of the exit routes from that part of the world?
Yes, the second quarter and the rest of 2022, we had really marvelous experience to deal with the impact of the geopolitics because of the war. And in particular, 2 items. One of them, disruption to the supply chain, where basically immediately I put task force to see what items are affected by the supply chain and what are the mitigation measures, if you like. And the task force was active for 4 months. And luckily, we really absorbed all these disruption, and we put alternative, or we expedited some of the materials for the chemicals. We went more to the east, to Kazakhstan, to really fill the gap. This is number one. It is really detailed. We went tubing by tubing, casing, materials, all our requirement during the immediate term of 2022, and it was very successful program. We were able to mitigate and did not feel the impact. Other part of it is really production or export, actually. We were not able to continuously exporting as usual for one reason, because of the Russian tanks or tankers, oil carrier, oil tankers disappeared actually because of the embargo. And all Caspian countries were concentrating on sending the oil through Baku. And that was very difficult. So we suffered from March to end of August. And by that time, also the PTC pipe, that is Batumi Jihan or Baku Jihan pipeline, were under maintenance by British Petroleum. So it was not available for all, producers. So we obliged to cut our export to half and to fill our tanks. We are lucky to have really good storage, tank, which absorb more than 2 million, the maximum possible. And that was relieved in September because of the maintenance of the pipeline. And because we already investigated and made a lot of, business visit to the government of Azerbaijan to support us. And we contacted most of the marketing companies and made tender for 2023. And I could tell you our experience. Of course, the discount factor or the discount of the oil for the export became almost double. We used to pay from 8 to 9. Now we are talking about from 18 to 20
dollars per barrel on transport.
Yes, dollars per barrel.
Wow.
So we are taking advantage of the high prices, talking about 85 in the second quarter. It went up to, for certain days, more than $100, dollar per barrel. So this is acceptable to us because this is the only choice. And we negotiated very hard with the exporters or marketing companies, if you like. So this is the second experience. And now we will be completing, almost 1 year. And, we are stable within this environment. And lesson learned from this change because of the war, the unfortunate war, of course, between Ukraine and Russia, that it made disruption to supply chain, to marketing, and financial for some companies, some countries, right?
Yep.
And we were able to mitigate. Everybody mitigated. So I think the lesson learned that it will not be worse than what it happened. People already developed alternatives, and two good examples really Europe, where their supply of energy were coming from Russia, and now they have different alternatives, and they absorbed the shock, if you like, in the last winter. So a lot of lesson learned, and companies, countries are prepared easily for next year because they have solutions.
Of course, the another big stabilizing factor this year, I mean, in terms of the oil price, we saw Brent crude 3 months ago drop to 71, nearly went below 70. So WTI did, but Brent held above 70, but nonetheless had fallen quite significantly until Saudi Arabia made some unilateral cuts of 1 million barrels a day above the OPEC plus cuts and made a further commitment to extend them till the end of September. What impact do you think they're having on the market? And do you think Saudi Arabia can return that million back going into the fourth quarter? Is there demand there? What impact is that OPEC plus the Saudi extra cuts having on the market, and your outlook for that through the end of the year?
I think the volunteered cut by Saudi Arabia was very positive, to stabilize the market. And depending on the supply to demand balance, things will be, I'm sure, will be monitored by OPEC and Saudi Arabia. And most likely they are looking after stabilizing the market more than the price. So my forecast that, for the remaining 3 months, if you take that September almost known, it will be positive. It will be between somewhere 75 to 85, and having, prices of higher than 80s are likely, if you like. And because there is more positive, outlook in the most of the countries.
I mean, China remains a question mark, doesn't it? I mean, in terms of, in a way, the surprise of the year is the strength of the American economy as the world's biggest consumer of energy, doing very well despite the interest rates and inflation. Whereas China hasn't really come back as strong as people had expected, and the outlook there appears that that weakness might continue. And of course, China is the biggest importer of oil in the world.
That's true. And as you said rightly, the United States economy is really strong, diversified, and innovative. Actually, they can really, balance very quickly. And the good news about inflation, when you talk about exchange rate, ability to buy more, also there is indication that it's coming down worldwide with the increase of the interest rate, labor, and all the, the central bank monetary rules. China also, there is, some sign that it will be stronger. And again, it is not that bad, but their growth was estimated previously above 6%, maybe 7%. And the expected result estimated actual for 2023 might be around 4, like all emerging markets. And when you look into this compared to Europe, for instance, it's around 2, and some of them even below 2, a little bit.
2% economic growth, GDP growth is low in Europe.
Yes, and so this will tell us that emerging market, including China, will be around 4%. This is the forecast of most of the economical institutions. And this is really a good sign that at least China will continue with the current demand, if not slightly higher. This is one.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, for 2024, I think the signals and the studies by most of the economical institutions that it will be a good year. One, because the geopolitics impact of the Ukraine and Russia, it will not be worst of what happened. The more difficult is really the first, I would say 6 months. Now, certainty start to be better, more clear that, things should come down maybe within 1 year. Most of the speculation is around this. It's easing than, getting more difficult. And now there should be a solution at the end of the day, whatever the solution is, because the world is suffering. A lot of countries are suffering from growing, and for the grain issues and a lot of, impact. Some countries showed direct impact, like Europe, North Africa, for instance, as examples. So the indication for 2024, it will be a good year. I'm optimistic for the oil price that it will vary maybe again.
If we take that medium term outlook sort of into 2024 and beyond, there is the International Energy Forum and OPEC, even the IEA, have all expressed concerns about new supply, new capacity, a lack of investment going into new capacity. That's been a concern for a few years now, but now it seems that the red lights are flashing a little bit. And you're talking about a Dragon increasing to up to 300,000. You're, as you said earlier, at 180. Where do you see the outlook for the medium-term production supply, the UAE targeting 5 million barrels, and yet some of the issues you expressed earlier about the challenges that Dragon had last year in Turkmenistan, the availability of raw materials, the supply chain, that is stretched beyond just Turkmenistan. Of course, that's an issue across the industry. Where do you think those two things come together? The need for new supply and the investment required, and some of the challenges that will prevent that happening. What's your outlook over the medium term?
I think most of the operators will continue with a smart, disciplined investment. Should be justified, should be understood, with innovative cost management in place. Investment will continue to maintain the business, to have really safe business continuity. Nobody would like to have, lower production. So at least, continuous production of the same, if not increase a little bit within, depending on each field, depending on each country, within 5 to 7%, I would say. This is one. Then other things that non-OPEC production will come also higher because again, it is opportunity driven by high prices, and it will give opportunity. And OPEC is cutting, so the
Cutting
combination
on
of
its
both.
exports, but increasing its capacity, as we said, most notably here in the Gulf.
But you see the increase in capacity, there is the time cycle for the development, which take between 4 at the fastest to 7 in normal condition. This EMP with the understood development cycle. So I don't think that the development cycle of production aspirations of private or national company will affect 2024.
No.
It will be spend year, and people have to do their best to emphasize operational excellence, operational efficiencies, to improve production with less investment. But I call it disciplined investment, to be sure that we don't hurt the reservoir, we prepare for long term. So this is between the two. There is no appetite for heavy investment, of course, because of the uncertainties, but to continue with the baseline of disciplined investment. This will support production continuity, and the forecast of demand and supply for 2024 within this interpretation, that it look positive year.
I mean, the demand seems to be there. We're already, even with some of these challenges, we hit a record high 103 million barrels a day in the second quarter. The question is the supply chain there? Are the rigs available? Is the steel available? Is the technical skills available to sort of achieve these capacity targets? ADNOC has brought its 5 million forward by 3 years from 2030 to 2027. I just want to get your sense of, given some of the challenges on the supply chain with this growth of capacity targets, is there enough supply chain capacity there to meet the E&P demands?
I could tell you at least my vision, reading all the international IOCs and the national oil companies, the coming 10 years, in principle, it is really still there is good activities of oil and gas. It is justified. Short term, I think should be disciplined investment. In between, depending on each company, how much resources they will get. But from my knowledge, ADNOC is really having so many number of rigs, and they have the mega giant fields, same as Kuwait, same as Saudi Arabia. The flexibility, if the investment continue, will be there. So between these two norms, continuous investment and aspiring higher production, and the smart investment on the short term, I could see 2024 is really healthy year, where oil price will be between 75 to 85, more or less, and demand will be healthy. And this will derive basically more confidence to inject investment on the long run, because rate of return will be justified. And so hopefully that the world will be safer, geopolitics will support alignment.
Well, it certainly seems like the region here is finding a new stability. What about the reconfiguration of oil flows? You're quite unique with Dragon producing in Turkmenistan, in Central Asia, in Egypt, in Iraq, and yet we're seeing all of this new oil flow coming from Russia into the East of Suez market. I'm wondering, we're seeing products going from the Gulf into Europe. And so these new flows, what impact are they having in E&P decisions, in marketing decisions?
I think each company have their own marketing region and sector. And for instance, our oil from Turkmenistan go to the Black Sea through Vitol, and Vitol, they have their own customers. So we receive our sales price minus the discount, and it is not sudden change. If you take the national oil companies of GCC and my country. In particular, they have customers in Japan, China, India, stable relationship for years. So as I said, the disruption of oil and gas supply have been mitigated by consumer and by supplier. So now there is more equilibrium in the market, more stable relationship, if you like, between seller and buyer. And again, this reconfirm and reconsolidate the positive relationship of our government with the other government, consumers. We have very stable, alhamdulillah, relationship with entire world, if you like, and we know our customers. So this is helping the GCC and helping UAE. And for small producer, also our customers are known in Egypt and Iraq. We are consolidating this relationship with the host governments, with suppliers, with partners. This help to reduce the uncertainty.
Let's just close, Ali, with the look, of course, very important event happening in the UAE this year, COP28, a very important event for the whole planet, but also for the industry, the oil and gas industry. The spotlight is on us. What's this opportunity? What's this challenge? Can we make some meaningful impact on decarbonization of operations, methane reductions? What do you think is the opportunity here for the oil and gas industry in this window of COP28 coming to the UAE, coming to the Gulf?
I think it will be a good opportunity to review what we have made, and I appreciate, the leadership of United Arab Emirates as being, official leader from ADNO Group. We work very hard on, for instance, gas flaring, minimizing emission, and reducing CO2 emission, of course, in particular. So now this will continue. United Arab Emirates, one of the also leading countries to encourage electrical cars. You will see that here in Dubai, we have, electrical charges for the cars everywhere, in the malls and some gas station. So there is good, percentage of increase in the gas, cars. United Arab Emirates, in particular, Emirate of Abu Dhabi and Emirate of Dubai, pursue the transformation. We do have now recognized, power generation from solar energy at very low price. And we have nuclear plants in Abu Dhabi. And this will continue. Now,
what about the industry, the oil? Because clearly at a macro level, the UAE has been leading for years in its sort of diversification, new low carbon energy. But the industry as a whole, the oil and gas industry, as His Excellency Dr. Sultan Al Jaber told Houston, CIRA Week in Houston this year, Houston, we have a problem. The industry has to start leading and participating in this decarbonization exercise. Is this a window of opportunity that if we don't seize it, there would be negative consequences? I'm wondering, from your point of view, how important a window it is for the oil and gas industry to really commit.
I think there is 2 points. One of them is really national oil companies advanced in the transformation. And like United Arab Emirates, also Dubai have really good transformation for both the solar, different form of solar. They have even clean coal. Now they are, prototyping hydrogen. So this will be a good role modeling. I think, United Arab Emirates is really advanced country to role model this commitment. And from operator, it will be a chance to walk our responsibilities, commit ourselves to decarbonization, to adapt the best practices. I'll give you example about dragon oil. In Egypt, we have zero flaring. In Iraq, now we are processing all the gas. We are in the project phase that within 2 years, we'll have zero flaring. In Egypt, we have also, major project to dump all effluent water to the aquifer, and some of it will be really, we will knock out all the poisons, metals, mercaptant, and so on. In Turkmenistan, we have plan. It will take few years, to go, but we have the plan, we have the commitment to really reduce emission as much as we can. So these type of things, we are improving our standard in pipeline monitoring to avoid leaks. We are improving our emergency response time, again, to avoid polluting close sea like the Caspian, this beautiful sea. So I think it will be opportunity for all operators to recharge commitment through transporting the best practice to know where is the technology heading and where are the cost-effective, technology to be executed in gas injection or in hydrogen, generation for local communities. So all these possibilities will be available at COP28, and it will be opportunity for all operators international to recharge their commitment.
Well, it's certainly been a great pleasure to have Ali Rashid Al Jarwan, the inaugural interviewee on the Halftime Talk series for 2023-24, especially as we run into our annual forum in Fujairah with the partnership of Emirates National Oil Corporation, Enoch, and Dragon joining as well. Really, thank you so much, Ali, and look forward to seeing you in Fujairah.
Thank you, Sean. It's my pleasure.